Ladies and gentlemen, Six Fig Stock Trader here from YouTube. In today's video, we'll be talking about Bitcoin. We'll be talking about Voyager token, CKB, and Yokai swap. So let's get into this. Before we get into this, folks, if you could do me a huge favor, run on over to Twitter, hit at Real6Fig, and give me a follow. This is where I'm dropping all the latest and greatest crypto interesting news onto the technical analysis of Voyager token. Now, this has been a complicated situation with Voyager token the past few months. They have had some lawsuit issues that I think they are working through, but there's been some other things I have noticed about the platform. It has done tremendously well during this last crash, specifically around the time that Luna was tanking the markets. They didn't have any offline time that I had heard about. So with that said, cheers to them and the team for that. We can see that Voyager token has just kind of finished up this little symmetrical triangle squeeze, and we are seeing a little bit of a bleed to the downside here. So I do think that there is a chance we might be revisiting some of these lower levels, or we could quite possibly be setting up to maybe form some sort of Gartley pattern to the downside or upside. But right now we are kind of breaking a little low. So if I had to take a wild guess at it, we may in fact see somewhere in the neighborhood of a 70 cent to 64.5 cent Voyager token if we are filling out some sort of Gartley pattern or something like that. But we are kind of noticing a few other things with this as well. So for one, we can see that this is a fairly clearly established trend line, and there is kind of this channel that is forming. I guess we could argue that maybe this could be some sort of falling wedge to boot. The only problem with this falling wedge is that it's a very small pattern that is filling out. Right now, it wouldn't surprise me that Voyager token really takes a stab at trying to pass through this thinner part of the Ichimoku cloud on the 4-hour chart. When we start talking about the 4-hour chart, 12-hour chart, it's very easy for price action to start wiggling its way through this Ichimoku cloud, things like that. But I do think that Voyager token could quite possibly be due for a little upside momentum. Let's just say that 65 cents was the bottom, or 70 cents, better yet. A dollar, $1, 89, 90 cents to the upside would be price points that I'd be kind of looking at. Really, this connection with this 200 moving average would be sweet to see somewhere around this dollar range in the up and coming week or so. So I think that Voyager token is looking good. It's just going to take another week. And when we look at Voyager token on this daily chart, folks, we can see how price is pretty far away still from this Ichimoku cloud. Now, on the daily chart, the only thing that concerns me here is the width of this cloud here. It's pretty thick. So we would really have our best shot at passing through this Ichimoku cloud sometime around this early part of June. And if we can get on top of that, on top of this cloud by then, we'll be sitting good. But for now, just kind of wait for Voyager token in the next few days to a week to maybe hit that 65, 70 cent mark. At least it wouldn't surprise me. We are showing some spinning tops on the daily candles, so price is starting to slow down. The bulls are starting to chip away at that bearish momentum, and we know this because we have some wicking to the top side of this candle. Off to CKB, and then we'll cover Bitcoin at the very end. CKB, folks, is still trading within this symmetrical triangle, and we are still kind of trading pretty far from this Ichimoku cloud, in my own opinion. But I do think that there is still this chance for CKB to lose its bottom, especially if the market starts acting up again. And like I said before, I think that there could be an opportunity to buy CKB somewhere around the 0.0035 ish levels. And if we lose that foothold we are going to see price discovery to the downside. But for now, price action has really respected this Fibonacci channel on CKB quite nicely. And so I do think that until we can break this trend line here, which leads right up to this October 12th Fibonacci time sequence date, we are going to be seeing the possibility of this 3.5 cent level as price squeezes. And this might be a Fibonacci sliver by default, where we just see price kind of work its way in, and then the lower trend line just pops it out of its downward trend. So there is one other thing on CKB that I have noticed. We do have maybe this possibility for this inverse head and shoulders to maybe play out, and you guys can kind of see where I might be going with that. Whatever, it is what it is. Let's check out Yokai swap. Now I did go ahead and try to pull up Daruma DAO. Let me know in the comments, folks, if anybody has a link on Avedex to Daruma, DRM. I cannot find it on Daruma DAO. So unfortunately, I can't cover it until I get that figured out. There's just a bunch of crazy madness that shows up on the screen whenever I go to pull it up, like prices that are like 5 cents, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I don't know if it's something's broken within Avedex or what, but it is what it is. So as you guys know, I've been kind of topping off my Yokai swap bags a little bit. I hate to give up my CKB for it. And I do think that once we can get Yokai swap on some exchanges where you can maybe pay fiat for it or something else other than CKB, blah, 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 we're going to see this thing maybe crush it. So right now, this is one of my more favorite positions to see price, to see a crypto or any asset in when this 50 moving average is really hurtling this way underneath this 200 moving average. A lot of times what we'll see is a nice explosive reaction here. And I do think that right now on Yokai swap, we are seeing this possible ascending triangle that has been forming. So you guys can see this. We are seeing the price condense and go to the upside. So I'm hoping that we can really stick with this little ascending triangle here, and then see this price react to the upside. And if I think that price is going to go up here, I'm thinking that we could see at least a 2x. Let's look at this on a daily chart here, and bear with me 1 second here. So we saw the all-time highs for Yokai swap were somewhere around this 75-cent level. I don't think that we'll make it back up to this 18-cent level. With that said, let's go ahead and just readjust this. And so I do think that there might be a chance that we could see Yokai swap come up to the 3.5 cent level, or maybe even test right around this 7.5 to 9 cent level going forward if we can get a nice market bounce. Nothing's guaranteed, but we do have kind of a similar situation like we do with CKB, where we just have this crazy trend line that's heading at a downward angle that we really need to break through before we can really move forward. So if we lose at this trend line, I do think that there's a chance we will see even lower lows occur here. So that's kind of my take right now on these. We're going to pull up Bitcoin here in just a second. So if you guys could please smash that like button, folks. I truly appreciate all the support that you guys have given me over the years. And here we have Bitcoin. Now, this is why it's important that I tell you to follow me on Twitter at Real6Fig. I put, whoops, excuse the mic bump there. Whales are going to start moving Bitcoin at 7 p.m. Central Time tonight. That was the post I dropped. And how did I come to that conclusion, folks? Well, this is Fibonacci time sequence whispering a little something, something into my ear. So we can see that the November highs measured to the December lows gave us a fairly decent Fibonacci time sequence placement, meaning that we were able to predict when reversals or incoming volatility occurred. Here was a perfect example of a reversal. Here was a perfect example of incoming volatility. Here was a perfect example of a reversal. Although it was minute, it told us that, hey, there was going to be a reversal. The one thing we don't know about Fibonacci time sequence simply is that which way price is going to go or what it's going to do. But it's always important to know about an event coming ahead so we can expect it and not panic. Being that these three Fibonacci time sequences were correct and that we have a symmetrical triangle squeeze on Bitcoin right now leads me to believe that May 20th, somewhere in there around 7 p.m. Central Time, within the next day of that, we will likely see Bitcoin start moving. Now, we are pretty far underneath this Ichimoku cloud here. So it wouldn't surprise me to see over the next week or two, maybe we'd see price come up to retest this 50 moving average. And if that did happen, we would get a likely bounce to the downside if we got rejected. But if we did see it prevail, there is this nice thinner portion of the Ichimoku cloud going into June that we could come up and retest this 200 moving average. Like I said, folks, mid-June, there's something going down mid-June within the markets. I've caught on to this just through all the math and Fibonacci that I've ran. That's my conclusion. So really, we got to wait here for Bitcoin to see what it's thinking. It is what it is, right? We can't predict the markets 100% of the time, but we can use some of these tools to help guide us, kind of like a compass. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please, please, please do me a huge favor. Smash that like button. It helps me out mentally, financially, everything. I totally appreciate it more than you know. Check out the end screens as well to some other videos that you might like. We'll see you guys all on the next video.